The Accelerator Workshop of the Sustainable EDU Framework Policy Architecture is divided in 4 sessions. The first session is focused on leadership and vision. The main purpose of this session is to help to build, to construct one vision to create a project. It's very difficult. I can say is impossible to create a successful initiative on education without a vision. And the vision is built not only on the opinions and the ideas of a small team, but it's built with the engagement of many stakeholders. Reason why we dedicate the first session to build this vision and to construct the leadership approach to build the vision. To build an informed vision, a common informed vision, we need a resource, global reference documents. It's impossible today to build a vision about education and our system of education without understanding the main trends at the world level. People now work and communicate in a globalized, interconnected world, pushed by the ICT. And building a common vision and position one region, one country, it's necessary to be informed about the world trends and what other countries are doing at the world stage to position in a competitive way with other countries. Then we choose a few documents to start understanding what these trends are in today's world. Let's look to the main documents now. The first document we go to look at is the Incheon Declaration. This is the outcome of the Incheon Conference on Education organized by UNESCO and other organizations in South Korea, in Incheon, and it defines education until 2030 and preparing also the input of education to the Sustainable Development Goals agenda. The main message of this Incheon Declaration and Conference is the importance to promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. We are coming from an industrial era. In that era, there was a time for learning and a time to work. That was the framework of the industrial workplace. Today's world demands learning is lifelong, and everybody cannot stop to learn because the workplace is changing very fast, the life is changing very fast, and people need to have time to work and learn all the time at the same time. In this declaration, we also consider in its paragraph 10 the importance of ICT, information and science, and all these skills as a very strong enabler of education in all its aspects, on content, on management, and the effective learning demands the wise use of ICT in education. To look to this document, to this declaration, is a step to understand what is the world vision and the world trends on education. To discuss this, to understand and criticize the document at each national, each region context, is the aim of this document in this workshop and in this program. Another important document is the framework for action. which start in Incheon and have an impact to define the Sustainable Development Goals in what concerns the goal for education. This framework have 10 targets. We will analyze each of them when we analyze this document. The idea here is to explain then the framework of action is the document which has been used, and then we need to look to the SDG in all its dimensions and how these targets, how this goal is aligned with the policies of each country and also aligned with other SDGs, other goals of the SDGs. Because education is an enabler, is a dimension of the different goals on energy and water in cities, whatever. Education is part of the agenda. Then we need to look to this framework, and this framework is like the plan of action for the coming years and how to define education. Actually, linked to the 10 targets, there is an indicators framework with indicators to measure how the goal, how each of the targets are evolving in the reality. And that's why it's very important to understand the targets, how to use the targets to define policies, and also how to monitor. And this is one of the advantages of the Sustainable Development Goals agenda, is they create a global indicators, and there is a very deep work now to define the indicators, which by the way are already defined, but how to measure each of indicator. And this is a wide discussion where every stakeholder can participate, not only the governments, but also companies, NGOs, and other kind of entities have an input to give how to achieve these goals, how to achieve these targets, and even how to measure. Remember, now we can use big data, information systems. We can use AI, blockchain, whatever technologies to measure the outcomes of education, and not only the system. And that's why the discussion around the indicators framework and the awareness about this in our policies is an essential part of the future policy of education. That said, on the ICT, on the information communication technologies and education, we also choose to these documents, to include in this assortment of documents to be looked at, the UNESCO Qingdao Declaration, also agreed in the same year. And this document, this declaration, aim is to seize digital opportunities to lead education transformation. One of the important aspects of this declaration is all girls and boys have access to connected digital devices until 2030. And why is this so important? Not only because the content should be used, not only because the people and the students and the teachers have to understand the tools of 21st century, but even if we want to manage to get information about the student needs, how to help the students with better content, with better data, to help them to manage their learning experience, their education life, we need to have all these students and teachers and administrators connected with platforms which help them to have their learning management system and to provide them with all the capacity of 21st century reality, workplace, and life. That's why we choose also this declaration, the Qingdao Declaration, and all these documents should be understood, read, discussed, and be object of discussions in the workshop or in their class, in the classroom, or in the school, or even organizing, discussing, and participation plans at national level or even international level, and to make these documents as reference. Next time these documents will be updated or replaced, then the capacity to understand the problems will be even better. And that will be a good reason to have a democratic discussion and critical reading of these documents in our sessions and in this kind of program. Just a final note on this webcast, which is part of the Accelerator workshop as a second pillar of the Sustainable EDU framework policy architecture. And I invite you to visit the program webpage. You can see below in this slide, or contact us to have further information on the program or on the workshop. And updates of these webcasts or new webcasts will be added from time to time to this place, to this website. Then I invite you to visit, to contact us, and to establish collaboration to develop this approach and this kind of training for people interested in developing ICT education projects. Thank you.